Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. This time it's a Silverstone 4-hour race, so this is a driver's sport race. I did this with Luke, you'll know him as Depressed Grid. I'll link his channel down in the description below. But yeah, this is my coverage of my 2-hour stint for this race. So basically on PS4 you can do a driver change, it's just a little bit more difficult than on PC, as the first driver has to leave the server and then the second driver has to enter the password for the server and jump in and put the setup on and everything like that. So here we are then, out on our outlap then from our driver change. Currently P8, but that will it will change throughout the race because everyone else is also doing their driver change at the same time. So everyone is basically told to come in on a certain lap after their stint, and yeah, that is how it works basically. So it's a bit more fiddly, but when it works it's really nice and satisfying and it gives some really good races. So yeah, on our outlap here, coming into the Abbey complex and onto the Lewis Hamilton straight, and yeah, just trying to get the tyres in their optimum window. Yeah, 2 hours is a long time, so I'm going to try and make as little mistakes as possible. You see, actually it's just over 2 hours for me, so Luke's stint finished a little bit early. But yeah, I've just got to bring this car home to the end now, and yeah, see, we're already up to P7 and some people haven't quite done their pit stops yet, I do believe, so or in the pit lane. But yeah, we've got to basically just be nice and consistent. Consistency is massively key in these long 4-hour races, or any endurance race to be honest, because the more consistent you are each lap, the more likely you have a better race overall. Yeah, into the last couple of corners on our outlap, you can see the tyres are certainly coming up to temperature. There's me noticing the understeer, so that they're not quite there just yet, but they're not far off at all. But yeah, we're basically going to try and certainly go for a win, go for a podium. Based on quality that Luke did earlier, we were definitely up there. He didn't have the greatest quality, but we definitely got the pace, I reckon, to get a top 3 quite easily. But yeah, a few moments later, tyres are definitely in the window. You can see our first sort of flying lap, not great because just trying to get a feel for the car. I'm not a massive fan of the McLaren, to be honest. It sits quite low and therefore is extremely sensitive to the curbs. So for example, this turn 1 curb at Cops, if you hit it wrong you're going to spin, which sort of foreshadows what will happen. But you can see we're in 4th place, catching up with TR something or other in the Bentley, in the bright pink and yellow Bentley, who is holding 3rd position, so the first podium position, and I'm very keen to take it off of him. I definitely have more pace than him at the minute. I think their first driver was a little bit quicker than us in that first stint, but it seems that I have the upper hand on their second driver. You can see you've got EOS, which is a fellow league, in the Ferrari there in 2nd. And you can see he has a massive snap of oversteer, the Bentley in front of us, and we're able to get alongside at Stowe. Have to give him room on the outside, otherwise don't want to pinch him off the road. He has the inside, so I'm going to have to sacrifice that and try and get a switchback here, which is, you see I'm trying to do, but don't quite have the traction against the Bentley, and he keeps the position for now. But yeah, up behind the Bentley, you can see him sort of just getting his mirrors, sort of getting him to defend. Don't really want to go for a move into Abbey, but it made him go semi-defensive. I couldn't quite get the move done. But I don't want to be too rational with this move, because any damage I get to the car I'll have to fix in the pit stop. And also it's a long race. I've got an hour and 40 minutes still to go at this point in the race. I don't want to bin the car, so I'm just being nice and careful and tactical with my moves, just to make sure that the car survives. You see Bentley quick in the last sector, you'll see, compared to McLaren. I think it's McLaren's weakest sector, to be honest. I've always found the Bentley quite good. You can see he doesn't really have a very good run through down the Wellington straight and into Luffield, and we're just going to have to try and eke out that advantage as much as we can. But yeah, just trying to make inroads on the Bentley. You can see he's sort of slow down the straights compared to the McLaren. It's not the quickest in the straight line. You can see he's just making constant mistakes, and to be fair, that's my error there. Just sort of got on the inside and just lightly touched him there. Nino goes through, but other than that, we don't actually lose any positions, but crucially we lose time. And that was really the last thing I wanted. I didn't want contact with this guy. I didn't want to get held up too much by this guy. I would have thought with an hour and 40 minutes to go he wouldn't defend it quite as hard as I was expecting, but he did, and it's fair enough, it's for a podium place. But potentially if that were me, if I'd seen that the guy behind was quicker, I probably would have just let him through if he got the opportunity and tried to follow him as much as I could. But the Bentley did not want to do that at all. So we're just going to have to fight our way through. You see, we've already caught back up. I think it was only about 4 seconds damage to the car, maybe not even that. Yeah, nothing really that's going to affect the car in a negative way too much. You see I'm flashing the lights, I'm getting impatient. I don't really want to be stuck behind this guy any longer than I have to. We're just losing constant time here, and I just want to get through, quite frankly. But you can see he defends into the loop complex, gives me room on the outside. There's not going to be a lot I can do, and you can see I just instantly back out because I see he's steaming away from the apex. And you see he goes in deep there, and just couldn't quite get the undercut on him. Just couldn't quite get up the inside, get the old switcheroo done. Sort of parks it on the apex, and there's nothing really I can do there. Thank God there's a big 18-second gap behind to P5 and further to Chris. You want to watch out for Chris, he's very quick in the other McLaren here, and yeah, he's going to become a factor later on in the race for sure. But still stuck behind this Bentley. I mean, we've seen that pink Bentley for laps now. It's 16 laps into Austin, hour and 38 minutes to go, and we're going to see what we can do here to try and get a move done on the Bentley. Into Copse Corner for the 17th time. You see he misses the apex there. I have a massive snap of oversteer. Into Copse Corner, and just can't really gain any time on the Bentley because of that. So it's a real shame because I was much quicker through the corner, and then it must have been like dirty air or something, or got on the marbles and the car just snapped away from me there. So yeah, a bit surprising considering the stable setup we're running. But yeah, things like that happen. But you see we're gaining all the way down the Hanger Straight here into Stowe Corner. Are we going to go for a move? No, we're going to wait for him to make another mistake at Stowe Corner. He runs wide, misses the apex by a country mile, and we're going to try and go up the inside, are we? Yeah, having a look, send the car late on the brakes up the inside at the apex. He goes in deep, that's fair enough. We're going to try and go for the switchback. And you see we get up the inside and he sort of just turns into us, which is a bit bizarre, so I wasn't very happy with that at all. Yeah, so wasn't very happy with that. He keeps the position off the track as well, which I was not happy with either. And at this moment I was sort of shouting down the mic to Luke going, what is this guy doing? He's just losing us loads of time. You see him 3 seconds off my best lap, which isn't even that great. It's about 2:05. But yeah, we're just losing more and more time, and this guy's making more and more mistakes. You can see out of the loop, slow exit for the Bentley. Can we get him down the Wellington straight here? McLaren better at the top end speed than the Bentley because it has that huge rear wing generating all that downforce. He defends it slightly, can't really go around the outside there, so we're going to wait for the old switcheroo. He goes in fairly deep. We're going to look round the outside at Luffield. That'll be a difficult move to pull off, and unfortunately we can't quite do that. So the Bentley again keeps the position, and all the time we're losing time. Marga behind, who was 18, nearly 19 seconds behind, is now only 15. Chris is only 20 seconds behind. He was 25 seconds. So we're just losing heaps of time here. In an endurance race, time is positions, because it can get very, very close at the ends of these races, especially if people start to get, you know, a little bit less consistent because of the duration of time we've been driving. You see he has a bad exit out of Magnus Beckett. We're going to have a look at the inside. The door opens just at the right time for me. We're up the inside into Stowe. Surely he's going to have to concede this position unless he tries hanging it around the outside, of which he doesn't, and we are eventually through. But it wasn't over, because into here I'm braking at my normal braking marker, and he must have missed his braking point by a country mile, because he actually hits us into this complex corners, and we actually get some rear damage there, so that gives us 4.5 seconds damage, and that is damage that is really not going to help us in this race. Damage at the rear, and this car's fairly sensitive to damage, so I mean 4 seconds damage may not sound like a lot, but when the McLaren and other cars such as like the Ferrari as well, they're pretty sensitive on damage. They can make the car extremely unstable. So especially as all that damage is now at the rear, yeah, it's going to make the car potentially more difficult to drive. Thankfully, I didn't find that with this car so much, so I must have got away with it. But yeah, coming into pit lane on this lap, you see miles from the apex into Brooklands. But this is our pit lap, so the tyres are dying of death. They're crying out. They do not want to be on this car anymore, and hence we're going to go into the pit lane. Make sure we don't speed on entry, because that would not be a nice stop and go. You can see we're taking it nice and carefully and into the pits, onto the pit limiter. So it's going to be about a 35-second pit stop, just because of that damage. To be honest, 4-5 seconds of damage. So you can see the magic editing only takes 2 seconds. But yeah, we come out again in 4th place, so Chris actually has jumped us there but hasn't pitted yet. So yeah, we're going to have to see what we can do. Audi team out in front. This Luke Mirai guy is extremely quick, so we're just going to have to hope that they make mistakes and see what happens. But yeah, Chris in 3rd, EOS Neverline in 2nd, and Luke in 1st, and myself in 4th. So the top 4 are going to end up being pretty close at the end of this race. You can see, unfortunately for the Audi team, they actually disconnected from the race and actually had to join back, and they ended up coming out in 7th or 6th or something, and about a lap down, so their hopes of getting any decent result were gone at this point. So that gave us a free podium position, but it also gave us potentially a chance at 2nd place, as for this last 40 minutes or so I was a bit quicker than, or at least matching the pace of the Ferrari in 2nd place of EOS Neverline, and yeah, we're going to see if we can try and get 2nd place, because that would be a really good result. No really threat from behind as of yet, but you're going to see by the time we get near the end of the race, Chris, who I mentioned earlier, is actually not going to be too far away at all. So I can see again a bit of oversteer there into slow speed corners. That's certainly where I felt the McLaren wasn't very good. It was in the slow speed corners, that low speed rotation just didn't really want to turn in, compared to some of the other cars I've driven. So the Bentley, for example, really good in the low speed corners, hence why it's so good in the last sector. You can see with 37 minutes to go, I've got Luke behind, who almost hits us there actually. We broke a little bit too early, I think, than he was expecting, but this was the guy that unfortunately disconnected as in 6th, but I know that he's really quick, so I'm not going to hold him up any longer. When he gets close enough, I'll just let him through, and you can see on the next lap he's practically on my gearbox, so I'm not going to defend here into Brooklands corner after the Wellington straight. I'm just going to let him go. You see I actually lift off slightly down the straight here, just to, you know, confirm that I'm not going to fight him. I'm actually going to try and follow him, because if I can get closer to EOS here, then I can potentially get a win here, because this fight now is for the win. We're in 2nd place, EOS in 1st, 16 minutes to go. You can see I've gained about 3-4 seconds on the leaders, but it's not really quite enough at this stage. I'm going to need to gain a lot more, and well, there we go, there's the lack of concentration coming in I was talking about earlier. clipping that inside curb and just unsettled the car massively, sending us into a spin, which I couldn't really prevent. But more importantly, that's going to allow Chris to gain on us. The chances of a win are gone now, the tyres are hot. But by the end of the race, you see Chris is only 4 seconds behind us, so that mistake was almost very costly. Bentley on the left there, but we're going to come home to finish in a respectable 2nd place after 4 hours, where we were in 4th place, 5th place for most of the race. So really good result there. Great stint from Luke earlier in the race as well, my teammate. And we're going to bring this beautiful Golf liveried McLaren home in P2. So I hope you guys enjoyed that race. I certainly did, and if you did, make sure to sub to the channel if you did enjoy. But yeah, that is it from me. I hope you all had a great time watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.